Hurricane-strength winds hitting Colorado's Front Range and parts of the high country. Combine that with how warm and dry we are right now, and that is why we are first alerting for high fire danger. Tens of thousands of people are without power right now due to the threats of wildfires. Some people may be without power for days. This broken power pole near Golden illustrates why XL Energy ordered a power shutoff for many of our communities. XL is constantly updating the power shutoff as well as unplanned power outages.
Yeah, parts of Boulder, Clear Creek, Jefferson, Larimer, Weld counties all included in this, and now Denver International just ordered a ground delay due to the high winds. Also, there are road and highway closures too. That includes Highway 93 between Golden and Boulder, US 287 between Ted's Place and the Wyoming border. Your reporters are in your communities following the impact of our first alert weather day, and your meteorologist tracking how long this will last. We want to start with meteorologist Joe Brook live now near Ward up in Boulder County.
Yeah, how's it going, guys? I'm at a higher elevation. I want to explain exactly why we're seeing the winds the way we are. This is a good visual right here. It's probably tough to tell on the camera, but look up there in the distance. Last week we had a jet max, and again this week we have a jet max, and I don't know why you can tell, but the clouds are racing due east right now, winds blowing from the west. So now let's think about this. You have a strong flow coming over the mountains. We're going to take a glob of air, imaginary glob, and we're going to call this our mountain wave. On a day like today, what we are seeing is less stability as you rise. A glob of air forced downward, drop it in a neighborhood. I've seen a video in Arvada. We had a car window break, and a neighborhood or two over, we weren't really seeing much in the form of winds at all. So the key message of all of that, we're seeing very sporadic gusts for today, even up here in elevation for now. It's going to calm about 19 miles per hour. But what will be happening over the next few hours, actually, the winds are going to creep back up the foothill. So I'm at a higher elevation right now. During the 6 o'clock hour, if you do stick with us, I bet you I'll be able to clock some gusts up to about 75 miles per hour. It's already picking up, hitting about 40 miles per hour. Now, Dave, I do know some of the high wind warnings, especially where I'm located, western Boulder County, they've been extended. What are we looking at with the current trends in this forecast?
Well, the winds are really ramping up. It's kind of a surge within the last few minutes here. Here's some of the peak gusts that we've seen today. Rocky Flats, 97 mile per hour, 96 in the Marshall area, NCAR on the Mesa Lab in Boulder, 96, 93 in West Arvada, and 74 and 73 respectively for Floyd Hill and Cheeseman Reservoir. 74 and above is hurricane strength, so pretty impressive winds. Here's what we got right now. Take a look at Broomfield, 83 mile per hour gusts just blew through there. 40 downtown, 62 in Lakewood, and you get up into the mountains here. Berthoud Pass right now, 78 mile per hour winds, so they are really kicking in gear here as we go into the evening hours. Red flag warning now still in effect for the metro area, the Front Range foothill locations here up to Fort Collins down to Monument. Now 6 p.m. is when the red flag warning is over. That's only about an hour. I think these winds are going to keep on all night long, so we're going to be having problems through the night into tomorrow morning as far as the wind goes. As we see the sunset, humidity levels go up, and that type of thing, that helps out with the fire danger, and that's most likely, as that expires, going to remain in effect or remain with the expiration date there. Now, we also have high winds in many locations along the Front Range mountains and foothills here through 5 a.m. tomorrow, up to 90 mile an hour winds still possible out here, and then eastern Colorado here, 65 to 70, and that goes through 5 p.m. on Thursday, tomorrow afternoon. So the winds are kicking in gear, but we're not done yet. There's a lot of advisories for snow and wind in other areas we're going to go through, and then beyond that, boom, Thursday, Friday, more strong winds. We have 2 other first alert weather days that will take you through the end of the week. We will map it out for you in your first alert forecast. So even though the winds will be relaxing tonight, they are not going away.
All right, Dave. While the wind and fire danger remains a threat, look for updates every 10 minutes. We've got them streaming for you on CBS News Colorado.
West of Boulder, rocks acting like bullets, blowing out car windows. Check this out. The driver told us other windows have pop marks, like they got sandblasted. The damage happened after hikers took a trail near NCAR. Those hikers told us that wind really picked up the higher they climbed. Thankfully, no one was hurt.
Crazy. Xcel Energy says some people could be without power for 3 days or more. Another planned outage could take place as soon as Friday morning.
And the company has decided to proactively turn off the power in order to lessen the threat of wildfires. We've been watching Xcel's outage map all day, and right now we're seeing the highest number of customers affected. More than 116,000 people are without power. That is both planned and unplanned outages. Your reporter in Jefferson County, Karen Morfitt, has spent the day in the Golden area. And Karen, we know power has been out all day there.
Yeah, that's right, Michael. And really the wind gusts, those powerful winds that we've been talking about all day, hit here in Golden late this afternoon. You mentioned the closure of Highway 93 as well as some damage out there. Most of the homes and businesses, however, in this area lost power starting at 10 a.m. this morning. Xcel says tens of thousands of customers are impacted by these planned outages, and many could be for days. A necessary step, they say, in the name of public safety. At Golden Ace Hardware, staff had a plan.
We have a generator outside just to run the registers.
To keep the doors open despite the lights going out.
And everybody's been coming in and getting hardware stuff, and flashlights is like our biggest seller right now.
They're among the nearly 50,000 customers across the Front Range who are impacted by Xcel's planned public safety outage. A decision Xcel Colorado President Robert Kenney says wasn't made lightly.
We're doing this as a measure of public safety to prevent a wildfire.
Power lines will be de-energized or powered down until wind is no longer a concern. And then, Kenney says, they'll focus on getting those lines inspected and turned back on.
Once the wind event stops, that does not mean your power will be immediately restored. So we have several hundred crew members that are already being pre-positioned, that are on standby, so that when the wind event does end, they will be able to immediately begin inspecting the lines. They have to visually inspect the lines for damage before restoring the power.
2% latte?
While done with safety in mind, a days-long power outage is a scary thought for business owners.
We could lose everything, right? We could lose all of our food, all the time that it took to, prepare everything, and we just don't know. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of businesses going through the same thing.
Deanne Weaver was serving up coffee first thing Wednesday morning, trying to serve customers as long as she could before losing power.
It's been so random, so I don't know what to expect.
While street lights in front of her shop went down and other businesses lost out, the power at the Windy Saddle somehow stayed on.
We can handle it.
Now, Kenney says, in addition to having those hundreds of Xcel power crews ready to go when the wind does die down to go and inspect those lines and work on getting power restored, they will also plan to use helicopters as well as drones to inspect the miles of lines that they are going to need to inspect before restoring power. He says, but again, they're currently considering, as you mentioned, a second public safety power shut off on Friday, and that could mean even longer outages for some of the impacted customers if that does happen. For now, we're live in Jefferson County. Karen Morfitt covering Colorado First.
Yeah, certainly something we will continue to watch on. Karen, thank you. Well, the holiday drone shows at the Auraria campus is canceled tonight because of that wind. In fact, the whole Chris Kendall Market and the lighting of the Mile High Tree are also canceled for tonight. They do plan to reopen tomorrow. No word yet on their plans for Friday when those high winds are expected to return. As we mentioned, Highway 285 from Ted's Place to the Wyoming border is closed.
Your reporter in Northern Colorado, Dylan Thomas, out checking out those conditions for you. So, Dylan, what's happening there?
From the eastern plains of Weld County up west toward the Larimer County foothills, I've been following the wind today. And let me tell you, the strongest gusts before this past hour were in US 34, where at one point they were so strong they were trying to lift the hood up of my car while I was driving.
As winds picked up in Larimer County, so too did the dust from the Alexander Mountain fire burn scar, almost looking like smoke. But in the Big Thompson Canyon, the winds were whipping, blowing rocks like this one onto US 34.
About 10 minutes up the canyon, it started getting really windy.
Cheryl Gregory traveled up the canyon from Arvada for a day in Estes Park.
And the wind about knocks you over.
CDOT workers were seen clearing the highway of rocks and debris. As I was recording this video, you can hear the sand and dirt flying in the wind from the camera inside my car.
The electric grid is the backbone of the United States.
Which is why some providers along the Front Range shut down their lines out of fear they'd spark a fire. Researchers at CSU are studying ways to prevent this from having to happen in the future.
If the wildfire or any other extreme weather events comes in, how could we help the utility to send the crew to the critical area to recover the maximum power outages? So we are actively working on this.
The Red Cross also set up charging stations in northern Colorado for those who didn't have power at home. CSU says similar concepts should be installed long term.
So instead of everybody having to build a solar panel or battery backup system, we can instead build a larger system at like a community center, so when the power does go out, people have a place to go.
And quick observation, we just saw some geese flying above us. They were facing to the southwest, but they were blowing to the east, showing how strong the winds are. Also, some areas here in northern Colorado have power out at this hour, but others like Loveland, where we are right now, Christmas lights still on because they buried their power lines while building out the city. Reporting live in Loveland, Dylan Thomas, covering Colorado First.
Very smart. Dylan, thank you.